What's up, everybody? It's Blind Run with Son of a Tech, and I have with me Mr. Twerkins. What's up, buddy?
What's up, brohams?
We're using this as a mic. I don't know. This is Zoom H1. I think I've had it on the channel before. Anyways, I called Mr. Twerkins up because I wanted to help him out. I actually have your, let me pull it up. This is your PC score. What do you see on there?
5134.
Yeah, so that's his Firestrike 1.1 score on this system right here. We'll try to get some B-roll for it. It's an AMD 6300 CPU. What do we got? 8 gigs of RAM. Mm-hmm. And we have an SSD. Just which one is it?
The SSD is I think it's a PNY.
Okay.
And
240?
It's 240, yes.
Yeah, okay. And then he has an R9 270 from AMD. Now, I was on Craigslist. Actually, I wasn't even on Craigslist. A while back, I bought this Z170 SLI. And the guy messaged me on Friday and was like, hey, we had talked to him about a 770. And I was like, man, I'll get a 770 because I wanted to put one in my stream PC because obviously I'm in the middle of a new build here. And I was like, well, I want that to be a stream PC. I sold my 980 Ti to Gary. If you guys don't know, you can check him out on my channel. He's in the featured channels on the right there. I sold the 980 Ti to him, so I didn't have a GPU in here.
What's the name of this channel?
Reviews by Gary.
Reviews by Gary, okay.
And so I was like, cool. So I drove over there to Starbucks because that's where we met the last time.
Right.
And he opens his door and he has not one 770, not two 770s, but three 770s in an R9 270X. So I was like, he's like, I want $225 for all the 770s. I was like, well, that's $5 more than if I paid you $80 for each individual. His math was off, and he was like, oh, okay. He's like, what about $200 for all the 770s? And I was like, what about $200 for all of them? And he was like, yeah. And so,
Essentially you got that one for free.
Yeah, essentially these go for about $125 a piece.
Right. On
eBay right now. So we made out like a bandit. These are actually from DreamHack, and I want you to check something out. Try to open that package. Sealed.
Yes. Oh,
brand new.
That's factory, yeah.
Yeah. You want to see if we can bump your 3D score up with that?
What do you mean?
I'm giving that to you.
You're giving me this?
Yep.
Not the 270X?
Not the 270X. I'm giving you that.
You're giving me this?
Yeah. You want to see if it'll bump that Firestrike score up a little bit?
Well, hell yeah. I want to see
if
it'll
let's
bump
fucking
that
start putting
up.
it together then.
Oh my. Wow.
So these actually have these are the SLI. These are from DreamHack. These are the Nvidia PCB. These are not third parties. These are beastly cards.
Yeah.
And they're pretty cool. We do have to take, these were intentioned to be given away as triple SLI cards, so they have these brackets on the back.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to take these brackets off because we don't need them anymore.
Yeah. It's not like you're giving me two of them to...
No. We actually have some plans that are similar to what I'm doing with you for other people.
Okay. Cool.
They're good. Watch me break it. Just slip.
Yeah.
There was an old motherboard, an old AMD. I think it was in the Phenom days, like the Phenom X2s, and they had their coolers were a fucking pain in the ass, dude. Like you had to use a screwdriver to push the clip down over these on each side of the CPU. They had these clips that you had to push down. But they were so spring loaded you couldn't do it with your finger.
Right.
So you'd take a screwdriver and push it down. That's how it said to do it in the fucking manual. And everybody on the forum thread, so many people were putting screwdrivers through the motherboard on accident, trying to get it on. Because you would just slip off and hit it, dude. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness. That was a lot of refunds, huh?
Yeah.
Because that was their advice to do it that way, right?
Yeah, it's their advice to do it that way. I think a lot of people got refunded. Problem was they were damaging the motherboard, and the suggestion was on that's the wrong side.
Okay.
We're gonna be
My
going.
bad.
Let's see if we can get a better shot here. How about we lower the camera?
Okay. You want me to adjust the feet?
Or actually,
Or you can just put the camera there, yeah.
we'll just put the case up here. Here's your coffee.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Just get the coffee away from the electronics.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, because I can probably manage to do this sideways. If you're a new builder, don't do it this way. By the way.
Yeah, like me.
I would never recommend it, but
Now, I want you to take a look at the minimal amount of dust that is in there after. See, what you guys may not know is that he went in and did, like, we put in a new motherboard that was, the other one was all jacked up. It was
we have it
missing
right here, actually.
Yeah, it was missing 2 standoffs, which is my first build, so yeah. But it was missing 2 standoffs, and it was shorting out, and so it would freeze up my windows constantly. So we went in, cleaned it out, put in another motherboard, and the fans were in the wrong configuration, okay? So after that, I've already had it for like, 2 weeks now, I think? Since we did that. And normally within 2 to 3 weeks, it's full of dust. And it's just like beautiful.
Then we cleaned up the wires. We put the this PNY SSD. We used some double-sided tape and mounted it on top of the power supply. We do have a 500 watt power supply in here. That should only need 300 or 350. So we should be good. We're not overclocked on anything. The only thing I remember, I didn't like the way this card set.
Yeah, it kind of leans a little bit because of the weight.
Alright, so that clip, I'll have to put that clip back on. He told me about that. This is actually, so to let you guys know, this is John's old motherboard. Or not, was it old or was it?
Yeah, I think it was when
used?
he said he had an FX 6300 like mine, and then he got rid of that, so he didn't need the board anymore.
Yeah. Okay, both of them are out. I think I need to get this plate all the way off.
That's what happened the last time.
Yeah.
Let me put this on.
But it had a broken clip already. I just finished breaking it more. Just on the side right there. So here is the R9. This is a gigabyte R9 270, not the 270X. But I actually have the dual X. It's almost exactly the same. Right there. Look at that. You know what's crazy? The 270 has a bigger. Look at that.
It's bigger than the 270X.
270X. This is a reference PCB, so that's one of the ways you guys can tell. This would be the reference, and this is modified by the manufacturer to be shorter. Right. So that's kind of cool. You can see how they did it. I'll show you real quick.
Okay.
You see these connections right here?
Mm-hmm.
You see how they're similar over here? See how they just flipped them? They changed the orientation of them so they go horizontal instead of vertical down the board there.
Oh, I see it, yeah.
So then they can make that shorter. What I don't like is they still put the reference cooler on here, so the cooler's the same size. So it was kind of pointless to do it to that. Like, that's bad design. You can see how they, the shroud hangs off the edge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what brand
really,
this one is. So really,
technically, the amount that they cut off is really added back on by the shroud.
Right, pointless.
Yeah.
They should have redone the cooler, in my opinion. But there we go.
Okay.
Let's get.
This will probably get me to Houston.
Get you to Houston?
Yeah, the YouTube Creator Day thing that I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it, and I'm excited because it will, since it's Houston and surrounding areas in Texas,
Okay.
it'll get us more people that are, that we can hang out with, network with, do videos and all that stuff. So.
Okay.
You did do me well, brother. You did me well. This board did.
Now we are probably going to have some booting issues because it's going to have the. Usually, I like to unload the drivers before I put the new GPU in.
Right.
But we might have to boot into safe mode and delete the old drivers.
Okay.
Which will be kind of a pain.
And this is for my. Well, let me act like I know what I'm talking about. Nvidia, and it's going to be way better than.
I am converting you to Nvidia right now. Yes.
I'm officially a convert.
You're an Nvidia convert.
Yeah, actually, after watching some of your videos, I was already going to convert because I was like, you know what? He made some good points, and I think it'd be, and then the fact that most of these games, they just seem to run better.
We do have that R9 480 coming out from AMD that looks pretty sick. So, let's get this plugged in. That was, if you look, you had 2 6-pins right there.
Right.
This has an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So you have a little bit more power going into that card. Typically, it's something like, what is it? I want to say it's between like an extra 25. I think it's 25 watts. I'd leave a comment in the comment section below if I'm incorrect on that, but I believe it's an extra 25. Which also tells me that since this GPU has 2 8-pins on it already, or this power supply has 2 8-pins coming off of it already, that will probably be okay. Like, we don't have to worry about power. Okay. So there that is. Let's get it hooked up. And start getting drivers and stuff. Oh, look at that. We're booted up.
Yeah.
We're posted.
It's working. You always mess it up.
Yeah.
And then get me locked out of my stuff.
Okay. So,
He just jumps right into that. He's like, yeah, okay, well, let's move on to the next thing.
So the first thing we're going to want to do is check the device manager and get rid of. Okay, we're good there. Got rid of that on its own. Windows 10 is just awesome. I love it. And then let's get rid of your. The drivers are just on point. Let's get rid of your catalyst. What do they call it now?
Yeah, and it's called Radeon settings.
We will uninstall this. Anything AMD is getting uninstalled.
Thank you.
We have an AMD.
I think you
CPU,
did this
so.
For just the mere joy of going into someone's computer and getting rid of their AMD stuff.
So this is the HDMI and the Radeon settings and all of that. So we're going to get rid of all of this. This is for the GPU. Obviously, we're keeping like your chipset drivers or whatever.
Of course, yes.
Because you have an AMD CPU still in there. We're going to go to Nvidia.com. And we're going to go to US and Canada. And we want drivers, so we're going to go to support. We're going to download drivers, and we are going to look for the GTX 700 series 770 Windows 10 64-bit.
Okay, so this part is for my brohams because I'm gonna make sure to link them so they can see this video. I'm acting all cool about it, but inside I'm like gushing because it's like I was expecting something else and I got something more, and it's like
More than you were expecting.
yeah, and it's like because I'm very humble when it comes to that. Like someone giving me something, you know, and just like appreciative, like real appreciative, and I'm definitely gonna make sure I put it to good use, you know.
Okay, we are set up. So we got drivers.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to go to benchmarks. We are going to run our base fire strike because that's what we ran last time. No demo because the demo doesn't benchmark jack shit. And let's see what our score is. This will take a little while.
Okay.
We're about to get some scores here.
Wow.
Boom, baby.
So going from what? 51?
We
What was
went,
it? 51,
we
34?
went from, so let's compare online. We can actually compare right here. We can add this to the compare list. And then we can go and look at this one, add to compare. So now we can look. And this is now your new scores. These are your old scores and these are your new scores.
Wow.
Everything's up. So for example, like we've got you from being in the 20s to now over 30 on all of those. Now the combined test, what's really killing you on this one and this one, which actually this is pretty incredible. We did actually get a slight bump in physics, which is surprising to me.
Okay.
Because it should be exactly the same, but that means that the GPU is communicating a little bit faster with the CPU, which is cool.
Okay.
And then your combined test is low. Those two are going to be low because of the CPU.
Okay.
But we got a 10 FPS bump from what you were at.
Damn. What's up, bro? Oh no, bro. Dude, this is so perfect, man.